boom. Let's do a podcast, Chris.
Hi.
Welcome to Nerd Out, Word Out, a conversational gaming podcast.
Yes.
Yes. Confirmed.
Acknowledged.
Acknowledged and confirmed. So yes, we are here on a miserable day.
Yes.
To make your miserable lives slightly better.
Each other's as well.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the start of the show, which we call What Have You Been Gaming, Chris?
Doesn't have to just be Chris, but no, I've been gaming. and it's not just Switch.
Sorry, it wasn't a challenge.
It is at the moment because
you've been gaming. You've been doing some gaming.
It's all the Switch at the moment, but it's not. This isn't. I played through a whole game recently, which was Brothers.
Yeah, it sounds impressive until you say what game you actually played.
I know, because
it's like 2 or 3 hours, isn't it?
For 3.5, 4 hours long.
Right. Okay.
I think it took 3 sessions, which weren't like clearly. I could have done it in one.
Yeah.
But I did do Portal in one when I played that.
Yeah.
I'd already finished Portal 2, so I played the original from the orange box, and I really got into it. And it was about a 3-hour session, and I realised that I finished it. I was like, oh. But it was a lot of fun.
It's just like a fun little concept, wasn't it, Portal?
Exactly. At that point, that was...
It was like, we've got this engine, what can we do with it? Oh, we'll do that.
Let's have some fun.
But yeah, it was the best thing on the
It created Portal 2, which is phenomenal too. So. I don't play enough of that. Have you ever played much? Like, I will go on to what I'm playing in a minute. But
Portal 2?
Yeah, but I made you download it for the PC on Steam at one point, didn't I?
I've played it twice, and both times I've played it to exactly the same point.
Right.
Which is when I get into the real world.
Oh, what, when you break out of the test chambers, so to speak. And then Wheatley kind of giving you the old, quick, this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, he's like, bad.
It's not bad, it's great.
No, he's bad.
Oh, he's bad. Oh, yeah, he becomes bad.
Yeah, and I'm like,
You wake GLaDOS up, don't you?
Yeah. And then you get out into kind of like the real sort of post-apocalyptic world a bit, and I always do a little bit of that, and then that's just where I sort of lose interest.
It does go back to the because basically spoilers.
Yeah. I feel like 10-year-old game.
I know. You end up going through kind of the prototype area,
right?
Of like the challenges, which is all a bit old and different, and then you end up back in the new area. But Wheatley's in charge, and he's kind of mashing rooms together as you play it. Right. It's really well done. It's very a lot of fun.
So I've done the bit where you are on the conveyor belt where it's like building houses and stuff. That's
quite early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you start off.
That's before you've escaped. That's as you're escaping.
Yeah, he tears the room in half almost, pretty much, and like you're going along on one of them, isn't it? You're getting turned all upside down and all that. The physics all playing around because that's what it's all about. And but yeah, then you have to, just say, kind of run along the catwalks and and go.
That's the thing. Like I played. I think that's where I sort of burn out on it, because I like the rooms where you go in and it's like do a thing in a room, and I'm like, cool, I've done a thing in a room. Next room. Yeah. But when it started getting more open worldy in the real world. And like the rooms become obviously much bigger. Well, they become less. Yeah, I mean they do. It goes back to the room idea. Yeah, but it's a bit shabbier. Like let's say they kind of he takes one room and then kind of puts another room next to it and makes it's still a doable puzzle. But you've kind of it's a lot of fun to do that. I love the ending. I thought it was great. I don't know if you've seen the actual end. It's spoilers. Shall I? Yeah, spoilers.
So basically, at the very end, you have to. Put these other like kind of like reject heads onto the stand to basically kind of screw with Wheatley, right? Until you break him down or whatever, and then you manage to pull him off, and essentially you see daylight where you see it's night time outside, and you shoot a portal onto the moon, and basically one on the floor, one on the moon. And you get sucked through it. Oh, okay. And everything starts getting sucked through this portal of the moon. You're holding on to the kind of arm, like neck, head thing of it. And in the end, GLaDOS kind of basically saves you, pulls you back through the portal. Yeah. And then basically just lets you go. She's like, I hate you. You got to go. But you at that point, you're working with her. Yeah. She's at one point a potato. The potato battery, right? it's so stupid. Oh no, I think she was a potato battery when I fell down a chute with her. Yeah, you go all the way down to the old prototype labs, and it's got I forget the actor's name, but it's got J. Jonah Jameson doing the voiceover as you do it all, and then you basically build your work way all the way back up. And like I say, for that point, you've got a kind of commentary with her because she's a potato. But yeah, it's phenomenal. But that's not what I've been playing. I've been playing Brothers.
You've been playing the Brothers.
I've been playing Brothers. Which have you ever played this? Tried this? You must have heard of it.
Indie 2D-ish kind of.
It's 3D.
3D.
It's two in the sense that you. It's almost like top down, I suppose.
Right.
It's kind of high elevated camera running around, puzzle solving.
Okay.
Platformer is probably loose because there's not much actual platforming.
Right.
Like not that's kind of controlled jumping. You know, like when you play Zelda. If you run to the edge of a platform, you jump, you land on the next platform. Yeah. You don't really it's not like precision jumping because you make it or you don't. But the idea is that you've got control of these two brothers. So the plot goes that your dad gets ill, some sort of ailment. And so you take him to the local town doctor man or whoever that might be, the priest, I think it looks like, and he says that it's all done in a foreign language, right? It's all kind of got a Norse kind of vibe to it,
like a real language, or
there's not enough of it to be a real language. Right. If it is, they just use certain words to shout stuff. Yeah. But it's all gestures and imagery. So you basically have to go to this place to get this water, right, to cure your dad.
Magic water.
Pretty much, it's from some sort of magic tree, kind of
life tree,
Brazil kind of Brazil, if you like.
Brazil, yeah.
But you control both the brothers at the same time, one on one stick and one on the other on the analog pad.
Oh, okay.
There's an action button, which are the shoulder buttons on either side. So I forget which way around it is exactly, but it would be like the younger brother and an older brother. Yeah. And the younger one will always be the left stick, the older one will be the right stick. It might be the other way around, but that's I think you can pick if you go into the options. But so you sometimes one of them will have to, like, the older brother can do certain things the younger one can't. The younger one can fit in places the older one can't. Yeah. So you solve puzzles as you go. There'll be like distracting a dog whilst the other one, you jump on top of different hay bales and run across a farmer's yard. Okay, yeah. And then there'll be the younger brother is not strong enough to pull certain levers, so the older one has to, but the younger one might have to turn a crank. So if one, you have to hold the action button to hold the levers, and one will just do that, and you have to hold on to it just to make sure it doesn't let go, and the other one you've got to turn as if he's turning a crank as you do it. And all sorts of these little kind of ways of manipulating the controls. There's lots of little bits in there, but ultimately the idea is that you both go and get this magic water, and you have a little quest along the way. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you meet like a few people, like a few monsters. It's all that fantasy, right? So you've got like kind of giants or ogres type. Where there's this crying old big giant at a table, which is kind of clearly his happy little home, but his wife's been taken. Right. So you end up, it's on the path you're going through anyway. So you kind of manage to find his wife and help him free her from these people and fight a little boss.
So it's quite an endearing game, isn't it? And do you care about the brothers at the end, or do you not really?
Yeah, you do. You do. Right. It's they kind of mess around with each other. They are kind of very well characterised as kids. Yeah. The younger one being like the older one, a little more serious, whereas the younger one just being a bit sillier. Yeah. And the younger one can't swim and is scared of swimming, has a fear of it. And the older one, so if there's any swimming involved, the older one has to do it, and you have to carry the younger one on your back. So you have to hold the action button to make sure the younger one's holding on, and the older one's holding on to him. And there's bits like maybe you have this glider where you have to kind of balance the weight distribution to steer it left and right to go to make sure that you don't crash into a mountain.
It's a bit like trying to play Nier, like your fingers all over the
shot. They are. I had to play when I was playing. I had to.
Not Nier. What am I trying to think of?
Is Nier Nier Automata?
Nier Automata. Yeah.
It's like, and Spider-Man was a bit that way too. You really had spider-like fingers over the controller, but you. You have all these little weird. Like sometimes I just stopped. I was like, right, I can't remember which brother's which farm. Yeah. And they were walking along a relatively thin kind of path, and I'm like, so I'm moving one to the right. I was like, no, he's right on the edge. And if they're standing on the wrong side, I had to shift them to be on the same side as my. Yeah,
I imagine you'd always want the left-hand guy to be on the left-hand side of the screen.
Exactly. It's almost like you're steering with two sticks. So there were times where it didn't push it where it made you uncomfortable to do it. There are times when certain people have to be in certain places, but you can change the camera slightly. The other shoulder button on the back let you rotate the camera a little bit, so you could kind of miss it around. It's really nice. The world's really nicely padded out.
It would be interesting on Switch because you could split the game cons. One person could play one brother and one could play the other brother.
Yeah,
I suppose it would be easier then, and it wouldn't be as interesting.
It takes a little away from it, but yeah, Switch does like it easy. It's still a family.
Oh, that's fun though.
Yeah, but no, I'd have played it through. I think I only died a couple of times, but there were a couple of puzzles you had to think about.
Oh, you can actually die and stuff. You
actually fall off cliff.
Or is it like, I've kind of ballsed up this, so I have to go out of the screen and back in again?
Or... Oh, no. It's not. It's done as like one fluid adventure, if you like. It's almost, you can break it into levels almost.
Right.
But it's just checkbox. But no, you
can't like balls up a puzzle and need to like redo it or anything.
No,
you can always save
not
it.
That I did. I don't think there's much in the way of box pulling. You had ones where you, if you had to climb something, like the action button would make them jump and grab, a bit like Uncharted, grab a ledge. Yeah. So it's quite funny because sometimes there was like a ledge for both of you, and then there was one ledge in the middle, and then there's a ledge for both, and one in the middle, and so it kind of zigzags up. But you join in the middle. Right. So, but you can only have one brother holding a ledge at a time. So you have to hold the button. Yeah. Would make you hold on, and if you press up on it and then let go, you'd vault up, and then you'd have to vault to the next one. You'd like, hold it, tap it, and in order to grab it again, you had to press the button again. Yeah. But you started challenging yourself to be like, I can get them both up here quick. Make it a race of my own thumbs and be like, jump, jump, jump. But if they had to use each other's like kind of ledges in the meantime, you were kind of making one take a slightly longer route, or making, throwing one that's got less jumps later near the top of the hill to get in there after the other one to see if we could like catch up. Sometimes they fell down. They brushed it off. It was fine. But no, definitely. I mean, I think I paid like £3 for it, so it was definitely worth that. Right, it's the same guy that made. Oh goodness, he made something else which was very story led as well. It's I'll have to dig it up.
Yeah, my indie developer knowledge is pretty poor, I'll be honest.
It's quite a big one.
There's loads of those games which sort of all came out at the same time. So, Brothers, Journey...
Firewatch, is it?
Firewatch, Thomas Was Alone. Yeah. All of them. I've probably never given them the time that they deserve. Yeah. And I should probably go back because...
Well, this is what I'm doing now because the sales are great for that. Yeah. Because these things are... this is on 360 game. That's when that's the era it came out in. I played it on PS4. But it was that kind of... to be honest, it doesn't need to be any prettier than it is. It's good looking enough. It's... I think that I'd definitely recommend anybody to kind of have a bit of a go on it. Let's have a little... But yeah, have you been playing anything?
Well, I'm going to cheat this week.
Really?
And it might ruin your video version of it.
Go on.
What you've been watching.
Okay.
But it is allowed. Because what I've been watching is I tanked through the Witcher Netflix series.
Oh, yes, the Netflix.
I'm not going to spoil this. This is going to be a spoilerless version, apart from...
You approve of Mr. Cavill, don't you? Is this right?
Yeah, he's really good.
I've heard a lot of people have said...
Yeah, he is good, but also he is one of the problems.
Oh, is it? All right, okay.
So this is probably a little bit spoiler about the games, but you've had ages to play it, so get over it. Yeah. Although apparently the games have been selling through the roof. Witcher 3 is back on the not just the Switch version. The Witcher 3
about the Switch version now. Like I don't know. When I was looking at it the other day, because I was talking about Switch download. Sorry, but into it. The Switch version. So they managed to fit the entire thing plus all the DLC. There's 2 main extra campaigns. Am I right in saying there's two right?
Yeah, there are.
All of that onto a 32 gig card. Yeah, is quite impressive. I mean, it's
massively downscaled though, isn't it?
Graphically, yeah, but only really by. I mean, it's like the kind of minimum spec PC, but it's smooth and the world's the same size. They've not cut content per se.
Yeah, I wonder if they've done stuff like cut down random voice acting and stuff like that.
No,
is it all on there?
Full voice acting, all of that. It's a Game of the Year edition, basically.
Yeah, but I wonder how, because it came out. It was the first game that I bought on the PS4. Sure. So it's getting on a little bit now. I don't know how big the game was on PS4, but I doubt it was, much over the 30 gig. I mean, it's not like, the 100 gig. Downloads
with everything on it. I mean, a Blu-ray carries 50 gig, doesn't it? Yeah. But with the extra stuff they charge, a lot of this with the Switch, you find if it goes over the 32 gig mark, because there are games which are essentially the same as the PS4 version. So, like, again, content-wise, which they would take an extra download. I mean, I think Breath of the Wild is like another 18 gig download on top of it, so it's not like a 50 gig game again.
Yeah.
But it's not had to do that. It literally, a whole thing runs off the cart. It's on there. It's just quite impressive. I remember that other game that the guy did, and you're not going to be impressed with the answer.
What was it?
A Way Out.
Oh, God.
I'm still sitting in my... I've actually downloaded it. You need to download a demo so that we can play together.
For the in-joke, basically, ever since it came out, Chris has been like, I'm going to go Way Out. And then every time it's been on sale, he's like, I'm going to go Way Out because it's on sale. And you always miss it. And then you're like, oh, it's not on sale anymore. Next time it's on sale, I'm going to get it.
One time I genuinely meant to do it, and it was a weekend-only thing. But I got it before Christmas. It's been on sale the whole way for January too. Yeah,
but it's now just become a running joke that you're like, I'm going to get Way Out. We're like, yeah.
I haven't played it. I've had it since before Christmas. I've not played it. Thank you, Nintendo, because of the Switch. But you need to download a demo because apparently that's what.
I need to do it.
Yeah, if you download the demo, that's what.
I'll wait till it's on sale.
That lets us two-player up because only one of us has to have the game. So
sounds amazing.
We can play 9 Parchments after that.
Oh, gosh. I bought that. I actually bought that because you told me to.
Well, we were going to play it together. We will. You considered not renewing your PS Plus.
No, I didn't.
I thought you said to me you were considering leaving it, but then you thought, no, I'm going to do it. I know you've done it.
No, you misunderstood my story. Okay. I was thinking about just leaving it to auto-renew. Because I was being so lazy.
It takes a couple of months, and you're like, damn it, I paid half in 2 months.
Yeah, because it was $49.99. It was due to auto-renew at.
Yes, that's the full price.
And then I found on Amazon, I think it's still on Amazon at the moment, it was 37 quid.
I think was that during January too?
Yeah, I think that was
just on the PS Plus store.
It's 25% off. But no, my point was I was feeling so lazy that I was just like, I might just let it auto-renew. It's only 12 quid, which is like the worst way to think about things.
Terrible way to do.
I know, but you know what you're like. So it was like Monday morning, and I was just like,
if that happened to me, I'd be kicking myself.
Yeah, and I did. I did the whole because I was literally like, Amazon will literally just send you a code, and like you just have to put it in, Mark. That's all you have to do, and it will save you £12. And then I was just like, but it's so long.
That code is
it's 12 digits. It's the longest code in history. But yeah, basically, what I have been watching.
Yes.
What you've been watching
is The Witcher.
It's not what I thought it was going to be.
Have you read the?
Yes.
You read is it graphic novels or books? Books, and
proper books. So it started off as basically he was selling individual chapters to a fantasy magazine.
Okay.
You know, back in the days where there were short stories in magazines.
I think Stephen King did stuff like this with some of his short story compilation stuff.
Yeah,
he did.
A lot of the people did, and a lot of those short stories of Stephen King ended up being massive movies.
I think Green Mile
was
one of them. Yeah.
Running Man was one of them.
Was Shawshank? That was a
couple
of different
Redemption
stories.
was one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically it started off being that, then he started writing proper books. So I appreciate the original material, and I appreciate the game material more because I've played all 3 of the games, and obviously I'm a massive fan of Witcher 3. And
Gwent.
And Gwent. There's no Gwent in it.
Is it? Seriously?
It's absolute trash. There's not a single piece of Gwent in the game.
Anybody say, I'm dying, I'm starving, I'm hungry. Would you like to play Gwent?
I'm literally flipping tables as I was watching it. So yeah, it's trash because there's not a single card mentioned in the entire game, entire series.
They should at least have an Easter egg of it, though, shouldn't they? You know. But anyway. But
that's the thing. So, you know, obviously, The Witcher 3. The whole point of The Witcher. I know you haven't played much of it. The whole point is that he comes in, he slays dragons. Yep. Or not dragons. He slays monsters.
Yep.
He doesn't want to get involved in politics. He wants his coin. He lacquer the lady. That's that.
Is Witcher, the term Witcher, is that kind of like a warlock type element to it? Is that like a male witch version equivalent?
So basically they are a mutant.
Right.
They're a mutated human
Because he's got the white hairs.
Yeah, that is able to do certain magics and is trained in the arts, the fighting, and their whole existence is to kill monsters.
Okay.
They are the monster slayers. They go around from towns to towns.
And this was from the original books.
Yeah.
So you can see how people sort of saying, "I'm going to make a game of this."
Yeah, exactly. And then they built the whole world and stuff, and used the characters to do the whole things. And so, my issue with it is that there are, there are a number of main characters in the game. Yeah. So the main ones that have come across now are Geralt, as in the main guy. Gerald, as you called him for the first while. Geralt. Yennefer, Triss, who are the sort of basically, one's his love interest and one's sort of like a witch that he basically keeps sleeping with. So it's like in the games, it's the whole kind of like, which one do you want to end up with?
Sort of love triangle.
Yeah, his little mate and bard, Dandelion.
I mean, you called me Dandelion once.
Dandelion. No, you wish you were Dandelion. And Ciri, who's the sort of like the young girl that trains up to become a female Witcher in Witcher 3.
Is she the one that? Yeah, she's similar to him.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen the.
And my point is that Geralt, Henry, is lifted exactly from the game.
Okay.
Same voice, same looks.
Yep.
Like he is, and he's like the
character.
They filmed certain scenes like him in the bath to be like exactly like the like the game. Cool. Exactly like cutscenes and stuff like that, which is fair enough. But then they've worked really hard on all of the female characters to really distance them from how they are in the games.
There's probably like a feminist issue on that, though, surely, because it's a...
Well, no, because they're really strong, kick-ass women in the games.
That he keeps laying.
Pardon?
That he keeps laying.
So I'll keep laying him.
Oh, right, okay.
In all fairness, yeah, I'm not a woman, so I can't tell my point on it. But I wouldn't say at any point they were like...
Arm candy, kind of.
Arm candy subservient, or sort of like the usual kind of like... sort of bimbo character that you just sleep with. No. Like, there is like Yennefer's is like long-term love interest and stuff, and it's all, it's usually done in a slightly bawdy but kind of like, obviously not taking advantage kind of way.
Yeah.
But I mean, even down to looks.
Right.
So they've completely recast and like into completely different looks, completely different personalities. Like I get it because Yen is much stronger.
Okay.
In this. And I think that is where I'm a little bit taken aback, I guess, because the show's called The Witcher.
Yeah.
But he doesn't feel like the main character.
Oh, okay.
Like Yen feels like the main character.
I mean, with that many that you've mentioned, main characters, it's going to water him down a little, like his screen time, for example, because they've got to show the others, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. There's they've already said that like going forward, like a lot of that was just bringing the 5 characters that start off in different places together.
Right.
So now that they are together, I think season 2 will be easier to deal with.
Hopefully it will be one of these ones which does actually kind of go a bit of distance season-wise. Yeah. I don't know what Cavill's got on the slate.
Well, I think, like the obvious comparison is that it's trying to be the new Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I think...
They've timed it right, because obviously they've let that run its course. People... had a little breather, one, and now it's good to...
I think I just quite wanted a bit of a... Not like necessarily episodic as in episode 1, Geralt versus the Griffin. Episode 2, Geralt versus the Hippogriff. Do you know what I mean? But like...
the episode's not particularly finish? Is that...
well, no, it's literally a continuing story. Yeah.
So, but it's got there is a way that they can kind of smartly put this stuff together so that it ties up for the day,
But it's like in the episode, so there's only one episode where it really shows him fighting a monster.
Oh, really?
Like the vast majority is about Yen talking with the mages.
Okay.
And there's basically, like there's a whole reason that she talks to the mages, and like she is a kick-ass mage.
Yeah.
But it feels a little bit more like Dragon Age.
To be honest, like, that's my closest experience of that type of game, anyways.
Yeah.
Dragon Age, even with like the kind of there's the romancing elements to it, which are kind of really secondary, like you say. They're kind of almost secondary to the game. There's buffs from it, but there's it doesn't. It's not the reason you play it, type thing. But it's that similar. The world is a similar place in that, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole thing. Is in The Witcher, it's all going on in the background, but the whole point is he just doesn't want to become involved in it. Right. And in this move, and in the show, they've carried that on. He doesn't want to become involved in it, but they focus a lot more on it. And so, what you're actually end up dealing with is kind of like a lot of mages arguing about different things.
Whilst, I'm seeing cloaks when I hear mages.
I mean, it isn't too dissimilar to if you imagine, like, in the kind of early stages of Dragon Age, where it's the mages versus like Anders and that lot called.
I know what you mean.
The whatever they're called. But there's just a lot of chatting, basically. And that's the thing. I kind of think I wanted a bit more swords and slashy and fun like that.
I suppose they want to make it a little bit different from what's there and pad the world out. It's a big world to fill in a series, isn't it?
That's the thing. It's a great world, and it's a great world to explore. But they don't, in my eyes, seem to be exploring it through Geralt's eyes, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, it's difficult to. I mean, has he explored this world already? Does that make sense? Because a lot of the time when you have a main character, they're exploring the world, it's because they're exploring it themselves the first time. Hence, they're surprised to see things when you're surprised to see things.
Yeah, but so he's obviously a journeyman, but he hasn't. It's not like this is post the video game story or anything like that. He rides around killing stuff. He's seen some stuff, but they could quite easily follow the same arc from the stories, or from the games.
Sure.
I think that's the thing. Is I was just like, if they turn around and said, "Look, there's nothing to do with the games. This is based on the book, and we're writing our own thing."
Yep.
Then I think people will go, "Yeah, cool, fair enough."
But he is.
But then why pick the main character exactly from the game?
Yeah.
It just isn't congruent with what they're trying to do.
But
in
you're
my
going to watch
mind.
Season 2, I take it.
Oh yeah, I'll watch the hell out of it. It's good. There are a few things that I'm like, that's not good. And a lot of people have said this.
God, such as elaborate.
They play a lot with time, but they don't tell you.
Walking Dead started doing this. I don't know if you're still watching that.
No, I don't.
They've done these weird little things in some of the later seasons where they kind of. Sometimes they isolate it to one episode where something happens, and then it shows everybody building up to that thing happening. There's this one recently, satellite crashing, and all of a sudden you do just get thrust about it because it's all done in a similar time span. It's like this is, let's say, a day, 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
So it's not like everybody, 1 minute they've got long hair, 1 minute they've got short hair. It's not like when you've got suits and all of a sudden everything's got a sepia tone to it, like a bit of a gauze over it. It's more of you do get lost saying, right, so a minute ago he'd found it, so is this before I found it, or is this after they found it, or is this...
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I didn't like it. It's like you're trying too hard here, and I'm not watching this show to be confused about what time it is. This is an ongoing story.
But the problem with this is that... So this isn't really spoilers, but there is a shape-shifting character in it who can assume the appearance of anyone.
Okay, including Gerald.
So, which is fine. But then, basically, there's a character that dies in an episode like 3 or 4. And then, basically, in episode like 5, he turns up and he's like, oh, hey.
So you think, oh, you're a shapeshifter.
So he's like, you're like shapeshifter?
Yeah.
That's totally a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
It's not shapeshifter. That episode is randomly previously before the rest of them.
Right.
Because you're looking at the eyes, you're looking at the world through someone else's eyes. Yeah. But there's no hint to that. Usually, like you said, where there's like... if they go back in time, there's like a different tone or a different...
Well, it goes face to black and it's just something about... It's off time it tells you it's like X amount of time earlier.
They've ignored like the 3 days earlier.
Yeah.
And they've ignored that whole kind of like, oh, well, it's shot in a different way, which gives you...
Or it shows something like, if there's something that blew up, like, let's say a town burnt down in an episode, all of a sudden you're back in that town. You're like, okay, this must have been before it all burnt down or something.
And
it
him
gives you a
just
clue.
being in it, you'd have been like, oh, well, he's still alive. This must be before he died.
Yeah.
But because there's a shapeshifter, you're like, oh, no, he's the shapeshifter now. It's quite a lot of people have sort of not complained about it, but been like, what?
I think when it first released, there was a lot of people were happy. I mean, overall,
it's good.
Yeah.
Overall, it's good. It's not what I wanted.
When I say people, I mean the fans are happy, with him especially.
Yeah.
It's...
all of them are good. It's cast
I
well.
don't mean that in the whole, they're not the same characters. I think that at the end of the day, he is the main part, and that's what you've got to get right, isn't it?
I think more people were expecting him to be bad and were pleasantly surprised, as opposed to being he's really good.
It's not like his career's particularly shining. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's done all right for himself.
Yeah.
But people aren't... he's actually an all right Superman.
Yeah.
Because Superman is supposed to be a bit boring.
This will be a cash cow for him for a while.
I hope so, but I hope it also at the same time that I think he appreciates the fact that he is having to service some quite difficult fans in doing it, and he needs to always remember that. He can't phone it in one day.
I think everyone needs to these days, because everyone,
That's the way you make the difference, because they're the ones that are going to be spending the money on stuff later.
Yeah. It was interesting because, obviously, season 2 got signed off before they even...
I think they put it to kind of screening group, don't they? And then they decide, they're lapping this up, we've got to do this.
But what they've done is they've made season 1 completely redundant without a season 2.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist on its own. So basically, they forced Netflix into going, if you ever want to use this, if you ever want to make any money off this for the next couple of years, we need a season 2, because season 1 is basically... they could have done all of season 1 in 2 episodes, I reckon, if they wanted to hammer through it.
No majors.
Because some of the major characters have only just met in the last season, and you're just like, oh, okay, or the last episode. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got to get onto a subject
in 5 minutes. No,
it's not 5 minutes. No, we've still got a while. We're just over the half-hour mark.
That's all right. We can do this. This is your topic.
This is my topic. Let's off the top of my dome.
Yeah. So your idea, correct me if I'm wrong, is for us to come up with our own. We've not compared notes because I don't actually have notes this time. To come up with a game world that you would like to live in, and one that you would not. And that's not as simple would like and would not. It's more a case that you could thrive in, and you would not do well in.
So it was put originally as, if you wake up tomorrow in a game world, what is the worst case scenario? And what's the best case scenario for you?
Cool.
I'm going
to let you go first. It's your topic. I think you need to tell them. Either order's fine.
Okay. Well, it's on topic, so I'm going to go worst first.
Yep.
But I have decided The Witcher world.
Shocker. It's actually surprising that it's the worst,
But this is The Witcher game world.
Getting laid happens in it.
Well, this is the point. This is the point, because obviously you play The Witcher as the handsome, enigmatic,
anti-hero,
great Geralt. But my point is that
clearly he's Geralt, and you would just be Gerald.
Well, that's the thing, because I would be some boring NPC in a tiny little village somewhere.
You know what you'd have though?
What?
Gwent.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to afford the decent Gwent cards, because you have to buy all the decent ones to win.
You don't win them off people.
Well, yeah, but if you haven't got a decent deck, then you wouldn't start winning them, would you? No. I'd be the person that Geralt came into town and won my only decent card off me.
My grandfather betrothed me in this card.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So, it really is, honestly. The Monty Python and the Quest of the Holy Grail. Yeah. The mud scene. They're like, I'm being oppressed. There's some nice mud over here. And him and his mum are just collecting mud. Yeah. That genuinely is what, the kind of background of Witcher is. It's like a war-torn, muddy hellhole.
Is it one of those places that sun don't shine much? It's just a bit wet.
Oh, yeah. It's constantly raining. It's constantly... So,
You've got to smell it even though you're looking at the pictures.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So I just imagined, so not only am I, tending the fields day in, day out to eke enough corn to like make myself loaves of bread, living this horrible little life in this shabby little broke down town and all this lot, right? Not only that, but this witcher comes in, goes through every one of your cupboards and takes everything that you own.
And sleeps with your wife.
And then just leaves. I mean, what life is that? Like, how bad would that life be that you've managed to survive the war? You've managed to eke your way through a medieval town. Like, the Dark Ages, plague everywhere. And then...
You might be a bit of plague yourself.
Yeah, probably a little bit of plague. And then this white-haired lover boy
Lothario
comes into your house, steals your wooden spoon, steals your burger rust.
Just to go and sell it to the guy you know at the shop who knows it's your stuff.
Steals your wine. Literally, just for fun, steals everything.
You'd have made that wine with your own hands as well. You'd have picked them grapes and made that wine.
Come on, that's got to hurt, isn't it?
That's...
And I just feel like,
I don't think the whole medieval fantasy thing is ever going to be my... I've been camping. It ain't nice. Muddy fields are not my best friends.
I always thought that about medieval times. It's just like, you would literally just go and stab someone. I don't like him.
There's something to do.
No, but I'm like, I don't like him. I'm going to go and stab him. And unless you did something stupid like they used to do in the olden days, like leave your monogrammed dagger in him, like you just come back to your house.
Who's going to phone the police on that guy?
No, but if no one saw you, then you'd just be like, they'd be like, oh, he's killed. You'd be like, oh no, that's bad.
Must be bandits. Always the bandits.
I saw this Gerald guy about. I don't think I'd do very well knowing that people could just stab me. Because I
did that in Skyrim. I've told this before. I just accidentally pressed the wrong button, pickpocketed, and had to beat people to death because they wouldn't leave me alone after I pickpocketed them.
And then you just wipe out an entire village, and then you're just like,
a lot of quest givers too.
Oopsie, I killed them all.
Go talk to the blacksmith. Oh, I can't do that. And now his wife's chasing me.
Yeah. So that would be my worst case scenario. Is I would genuinely hate to be in the Witcher world.
We're glad we've progressed since these times. I'm not saying that was a real time, but the medieval time it was.
Yeah, I imagine it was pretty shabby back then too as well.
Yeah. If I go with where I would not like to wake up, and this may surprise, it might not, because I thought about this. I'd actually found it easier to come up with somewhere that I wouldn't want to be than where I would.
I came up with loads, but they were really obvious. Like, obviously, I wouldn't want to wake up like in Doom.
Yeah. I mean, I went down the practical route with mine, and I agree with it. Like you say, there's lots of things. I'll sit there and think, what have I been playing? Oh, I've been playing, like, Xenoblade. Xenoblade, it's all right. I wouldn't want to not to if I didn't want to. I don't know. It's not. But no, I've decided to go with, like, and I could pick one of the worlds, but they're all the same ultimately. But Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I would not want to be in that world. Can you imagine? Yeah.
To help the tall grass.
Well, yeah, tall grass.
Just try to go to the shop
with
the tall
bugs
grass, and then there were
time.
just loads of animals hurt me.
Imagine you walk along the road, you see a cat, you're like, oh, I'm going to stroke the cat, and it breathes a flamethrower at you, or electrocutes you. Yeah, and imagine, getting a plane to go somewhere, which is a rare thing to do in that place, and just being surrounded by people being carried by birds in every direction. Yeah. We're used to, train delays because of trespassers on the line and leaves on the line and all that. But imagine plane delays because somebody's Pidgeot's, taking somebody else off across a flight path. Yeah. Nobody really works. There's no real kind of...
There's no work ethic.
Organised crime is rife at every location, and they want to steal your stuff. Yeah. Don't forget, I'm not big on the... I'm okay with sustainability, and it is quite sustainable, but nobody eats meat. I'm not vegetarian or vegan, because nobody eats meat, because nobody wants to eat the Pokemon.
But are there not animals in the Pokemon world?
No, the Pokemon aren't the animals.
Right, okay.
So, you can have, a cow is a Pokemon. It's called Milk Tank.
Milk Tank. Moo face.
So, you don't even, having milk, to get milk, you'd have to actually go to this creature that can say its own name and would fight you for it. Life is too difficult. When 10-year-olds go off on their own adventures and never
That's what I'm saying,
come back again, you know, and it's the half of like a big chunk of the monsters you get are bugs. I hate bugs. I hate spiders. You know, I don't want to grow one and fight one.
I don't want to fight a rock.
No, go for it. Everywhere's caves.
That's what I'm
full
saying.
of bats. Five
You do
five
get
places. Attack bats and rocks. Rocks don't. The big thing about the rocks, though, the annoying thing about the rocks is if you don't have, you know, if you haven't got the right type of Pokemon, you can't fight it. Same time, if you do have the right type, they blow themselves up and kill everyone. Self-destruct. Kaboom. And they take their own lives and basically wipe your team out, and you have to go back to the hospital every time that you don't pay for.
Yeah, I feel like I could deal with fighting all the animals, but when you just start fighting landscape
and lamps,
like rocks and lamps and stuff, you'd just be like, oh,
everything's such
just trying to get to the kebab shop and like lamps trying to kill me.
Yeah, you can't go to the kebab shop. We're not going to have that. You're going to
you could have plant
falafel
kebabs.
shop or something.
You could have a plant substitute kebab.
Yeah, but the plants are alive. The plants would like
So you just
attack
can't
you.
eat anything then?
Well, no, I don't know what you do. You know, there's literally the rubbish is a monster.
Yeah.
And people will
Get a nice bike though.
Yeah, but you're not allowed. You can only use it when they tell you you're allowed to use it because you've got a voice in your head saying you're not allowed to use it.
Yeah, true.
So you know, you go up mountains. You have to teach your monsters all the cool tricks, but you have to have a couple of crap ones. Otherwise, you can't cut your way through a bush.
Yeah, you're like, no, you can't go that way. Oh no, I can't.
schools.
I can just get. It's only a really small tree. Can I not just go around it? No.
Yeah.
I can't go that way. No, but I can fit.
I've thought, right, okay, so I've taught my Pokemon Slash. Can that cut a tree? No, you have to have cut. But cut's not as good as Slash. I want to slash it or burn it. My Pokemon breathes fire. No,
you can't start fires.
No, you go in the sea. You know, go in the ocean and ride a blooming Magikarp to France or to whichever name of their country. They've renamed all the countries in the world.
Imagine
Kanto, Johto, and
put a bit of weight on over Christmas. Just think, I'm just going to join a gym. Just lose some weight. Go and use the old running machine.
Beaten.
Just what? There's just monsters fighting around.
This is not the type of gym that I know.
What?
And do you know what? People only talk to you like if you walk through the park. Everyone wants to fight.
Yeah,
everyone. And they don't do it once though.
That is a bit like Croydon, though.
It is like Croydon, yeah.
Just see.
That's the organised crime aspect. There's also
some tweaker in the park. And you just the moment you get eye contact with him, do you want to fight? Oh God, it's like Pokemon again.
He's throwing a pigeon at me. Oh my God!
Go pigeon.
Yeah, but the other thing, if it's not organised crime, it's cults, like practically religious cults that they're trying to. Yeah, we're going to get you.
Yeah.
And they have no like knowledge of particularly of countries outside of their own. Like, these places aren't countries because you can walk everywhere. So let's be honest, it's like Sussex versus Kent.
Yeah.
You know. So and they don't even know what animals are outside their own little bubble. It's weird. And then you're learning about everybody knows. It's like here's a little catalogue of monsters. Fill it up yourself for me. Why am I the first one doing this? Because there's only 150 of them. I can name 150 normal
Everyone
animals.
knows he just did that to get him out of the house so that the good doctor to go and see his mum.
To go and sow them wild oats. Oaks. So yeah, but no, I would not want to.
No, you sold me on it.
Far too much faff in that.
Yeah, you sold me on that.
Let's turn it round. Let's have a happier one. Where do you want to live?
Well, this is just very practical for me.
Okay.
I would like to wake up as a sim.
Okay. So, in a sim in the world that you've created?
Well, this is part of it,
Is it basic wants and needs? Is that?
Yeah, I just... you call me boring. But I just really like the idea of being able to go, something's... when you're like in a bit of a hump. Yeah. And you're like, what's wrong with me today? Like, what is wrong with me?
Look up at the bubble.
Well, not even the bubble. You could just put out and be like, right, okay. Oh, that's it. I need a shower. Right, that's fine.
I'm happy again.
You've literally got all of your needs, and you know exactly what you need now because you've looked at the graph and you're like, right, okay,
Yeah. You also know your next mission.
I'm hungry.
Like, what's the next stage of my existence?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So in an immediate sense, if you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. So there's that. Yeah. That's great. You've literally got everything. And other people as well.
Yes.
So you come home, Mrs. is a bit grumpy. What's wrong with her? Oh, hunger's in amber. Make her a sandwich. She can shut up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can see other people, so like that's absolutely sorted. You know other people's needs and wants, and like that's fine. So in the immediate sense, it's golden. But the better thing is in the long-term sense, when you're talking about jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
If my boss turned around to me and said, "Right, I tell you what, you'll get a promotion if you read this book and you make another friend."
Which would be lucky because there'll be somebody else in a similar situation and you can both be friends.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If I knew that the next thing I needed for a promotion at work, you know, none of this like dallying around going, "Oh, sorry, boss, can we have a word?" Yeah. You know, I was thinking, you know, I've done really well this year, you know, and he's gone, "Yeah," and you go, "Well, I think possibly I could do with, you know, a pay rise, the next step up."
How many friends do you have, Mark? He's going to go.
That's what I'm saying. If he turned around and he went, "I tell you what, come back to me when you got another friend." If you've got another friend and you've got, you know, you read this book on cooking, then, you know...
You got to level up. You got to level up for me, Mark. That's what I need.
Then that'll happen. Golden.
Yeah. At least exactly...
Like, I'd love to be able to just turn around and be like, right, well, here it is. This is exactly what you need for a promotion.
I think a lot of the real-life issues we have around would be non-existent because people should have... You know, because there's no real punishment for failing. It's just progression stops, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In some sense. And then also, if you get really bored, add on pack time.
But that's the thing.
Pets.
Yeah.
Sim pets.
I mean, you know, not being about being a bit of millennial. Yeah. Like, get to own a house.
Yeah.
And tell you what, if I've done a right at my work and I've got my promotion because I made my friend and I got my house, you know, might just build an extension. Put in a pool. What's that? Buying a guitar? Yeah, bought a new guitar.
You realise that your junk will be pixelated.
That's all right.
You won't be able to see like what's going on anywhere.
Yeah, but
even your wife's junk.
See, I think under the woohoo blanket, it's not pixelated.
Right. Okay. I don't know.
I mean, I'd mod the hell out of myself. So I'd get like the nude.
The tank engine as well.
I'd get the nude patch, and that was the other thing. I spoke about this before. It was one of my superpowers that I wanted. Character customization.
Yeah.
You want tattoos today? Have tattoos.
Don't have to have them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to been a big Christmas. You want to slim down a little bit. Tell you what, just don't go to work today. Just spend the entire day on the treadmill.
Done.
Fitness level 8. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, I think it would be great. Like, I think, you know...
Maybe you could learn something from this to, like, actually try and get yourself there in the real life. It won't be that easy.
Well, there are quite a few sort of variation worlds of trying to, like, gamify or gamification of your life and levelling up and doing stuff like this.
I used to have an app for that. I can't remember what it was called now. It was, like, you used to level up. You set yourself a task for the day or, like, a handful of tasks. And you get experience, you'd reward yourself experience points for completing them.
Well, it's that sort of similar to a bit of bullet journaling, which is a new thing.
Okay.
Which is kind of like giving yourself daily and monthly tasks and then sort of saying, you know, oh, well done, you've done that. Yeah. You know, like, so if you said, like, right, this week I want to do 5 hours of exercise, then you draw, like, a bar graph of 5 hours and you can, after every hour you've done, you can shade in a bit of it.
I don't know if it does this, but you should factor in, like, give yourself a realistic goal, which involves finance. And it would basically be a bit like, put $5 in the tin today.
Yeah.
And, you know, come the end of whatever time once you've actually collated enough, you'd be a bit like, you can have the money out of your tin today.
Yeah, I think this, like, but the attractive part for me for this world is that that whole kind of being able to make the unknowable tangible.
Yeah.
You know, like, I would just love to be able to go, you know, oh yeah, I'm about to piss myself. That's why I'm upset.
Maybe. Hopefully you know this. This isn't a problem you have these
But that's the thing, you know, like, so I often think about my life with the whole social bar.
Sure.
Like, it's probably the one I think about the most. Like, I never think, like, about my hunger bar or my toilet bar or my hygiene bar.
You got those reined in.
But I do quite often sort of go, oh, well, you know, I've hermited a bit this week. Like, as much as I love a night in with computer games and stuff like this, actually, you know, like, I need to get a few things in the diary to build up that social bar.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I would love... Like, I know it sounds
really
really boring.
Other people's, if you see what I mean. Like,
yeah, that'd be really good.
That would be the touch. So,
but, yeah, so that's my happy place would be The Sims. And I can have a cat or a dog.
You can, yeah, that's very true. Nice.
Sims.
I had quite. Is it SimCity? I don't know.
What?
Is that the actual place that you would actually be living?
Simville?
I have no idea. What do you name it?
I think originally it would be SimCity.
Yeah.
Which is where the Sims would live.
That makes sense. 3,000. But no, I found this one really quite hard at first.
Okay.
I was playing through these ideas and I was like, there's none that I really would care to, because most of these games are full of war and strife, as you mentioned. Most of them are hard work, and all the good ones like Nintendogs are a bit too kind of, you know. And we talk about Kingdom Hearts too much, so that's out the window, because some of them are a bit boring more than they should be.
Yeah.
So I had a thought long and hard, and I came up with something which is far nerdier than I meant it to be. But I did decide on a game.
It's not that panty game that you play all the time, is it?
It should have been. It's not. That's quite a cool one, actually, because that is basically the ideal premise of that is that each country is based on a video games console. So that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
And panties. But no, I went with, and this goes against my personality a bit. Drum roll. I went with Star Ocean.
Right.
I'm not a big Trekkie, just for the record. Although I've seen far more Star Trek than I care to admit.
Is this because your life is faith and hopelessness, or whatever it's called?
And integrity and faithlessness. No, that one is a real. It's a real stinker. I finished it. It's rubbish. Yeah. It's in the. I put 25 hours in and I didn't.
So I've only played one, which is the one that you lent me. Is it called New?
That's the New Hope. That's technically the first in the chronology.
Right.
That's the first one. I've played 3, which are the 3 most recent ones, which is that one. Which The Last Hope, I think it's called, isn't it?
Yeah, Last Hope. First Hope. Yeah.
I did Integrity and Faithlessness, which is awful. And the one I did before that was the PS2 one.
Right.
Which was, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's actually the best one of those 3.
Right. So tell me, because they
tell me why. Basically,
jump around worlds, don't they?
They do, and
they
jump around worlds, but also you can just like piss off to some kind of basic planet.
Yeah.
Put on your basic clothes and still, and like not everything is kind of laser guns and all this. You actually kind of like get to go and mingle with the commoners a bit.
Yeah.
But you just kind of go and do like essentially kind of have the freedom to do what you like, knowing that you kind of better than everybody else is about, or you've got it better than everybody else that's kicking about.
So you just want to sort of go back to really primitive planets and be like,
with the knowledge.
Oh my God, you're all morons.
I don't want to be morons. I want to be like the magician.
Right. Okay.
You know, I want to be not like super primitive.
Yeah.
But the to be more like to have the whole variance. It's you know, exploring. There's a few kind of galactic catastrophes chucked in there, but you know, there's a whole federation to sort that stuff out. So I'm kind of skirt my way around the mid ranks of that. What's just going on? Get myself my own little clipper starship or whatever I might have, and just fart around. Do
you think you'd be as smart as you think you'd be?
I don't think anybody in it that I've played is actually as smart as they think they are. Certainly the main characters.
So I've thought about this in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
So if I got Zed back to like the Victorian times,
you'd be a cert. You'd be.
But no, like the whole intention should be that I should be amazing.
Yeah.
But how many of the things that I use do I know how they work, or I'd be able to describe how it works?
Yeah, but the nice thing about this is that you'd have the stuff to physically show people.
All right, so basically you wouldn't be going back and being like, hey guys, electricity is awesome. This is how it's made.
No, you don't tell them about it.
You just turn up with an electric thing and be like, hey.
Well, no, there's rules. You're not allowed to show them the stuff. You've got to go in and pretend you're one of them and, you know, enjoy.
So how would you differentiate and be like, I'm the kick-ass one if you couldn't use your things?
Because you could have concepts and ideas that they haven't even, you can...
Yeah, but that's my
you can
point.
Sing, you can sing songs they would never have known you didn't write.
Oh, right. So this,
you can.
This is the whole one. You could be like, oh yeah. So this is
the whole Back to the Future syndrome. It's
anyway, this is Wonderwall.
Exactly. I wrote this,
and they'd be like, oh yeah, it's a great song.
Some will, some won't.
Yeah.
The cavemen won't like that one. But no, I reckon something like that where you've got this.
So that's the concept of Yesterday, which is a great concept, but the movie isn't very great.
Oh yes,
that's the guy who just he has an accident, or he gets hit by a bus, and then he wakes up, and basically the Beatles haven't existed.
And he gets to pretend. He basically comes up with Yesterday and other things that
He just starts playing Yesterday, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a really great song. Why have you never played that before?" And he's like, "Well, you heard it," and he thinks it's like a jape at first, but then he actually Googles them, and they just never existed. And then, as a troll, he Googles Oasis, and they've never existed either because of a sort of knock-on effect.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of then. Yeah, I'll take that. But no,
So other than songs, what could you bring to a primitive world?
I think you can do things. There's a science element to it.
Yeah, but this is my point. I don't know.
But there'd be things. There'd be ways that they wouldn't know. Like they'd still be thinking. In some places, the world's still going to be flat.
Yeah,
they're not going to understand how they can use some of the more basic stuff. To be honest, if I'm out with depth, I'll just piss off back on my spaceship. I don't care. I'll just take on to the next one.
Because you'd come down and go, "No, the world's not flat; it's round. That's why the sun comes round." And everyone would go, "This geezer's mental."
Probably.
And they go, "Prove it." How do you know? And you go, "Well,
I'll just keep running in one direction, and eventually I'll come from the other one. That's how I prove it." Or I'd fly around the world with it.
You stay here. I'll see you in about 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. But if it didn't work, you go on to the next one. It just. I think I like the combination of the whole future bit, but you can also kind of go back to somewhere a bit more primitive, very primitive. Yeah. You go back to something that's equivalent of what's here now. And you don't have to explain how something works, but if I've got something that lets me teleport down to a planet, it's going to be enough to wow some people.
Yeah, but you said you couldn't use the technology in front of them.
Yeah, but you can do it to impress some people on the slide.
Get the ladies.
The rules are there. Not just ladies. It's not all about ladies.
Do you want to see me disappear?
And you could kind of take some really different types of booze to places and see, experiment with people. It's like, I'm going to take this animal and I'm going to drop it into this world and let's see what happens. Are we placing some bets? Is this polar bear going to survive in, the caveman days?
Basically, you're just going to go to an island and be like, check out my cat.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's that? You're like, my cat.
It's a cat. Exactly. And that's the type of thing. You just having, again, it's the old, have a bit of a play with it. Yeah. You might upset some ecosystems in the way, but do you know what? You said if I'd like to be there, and I would.
Then you just disappear. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's your world. Do what you want.
There's hundreds of others. I'll go find some more if not.
Just like in the books of the Old Testament, they just talk about this bald guy who zipped down, tried to tell him the world was round, got frustrated, and just zipped back away again.
Threw a pigeon at him and ran off. They'd never seen a pigeon.
Yeah. Pigeon then died because it's the only one of its species.
I'd do stuff like I'd bring a bucket of fried chicken.
Yeah.
And then leave it, let them have it. And they would not know how to make fried chicken. So that would be like, they would be like, what, do you remember that time we had fried chicken? It would be in the Bible.
I love the thing is that you've got infinite possibilities on infinite worlds, and this is your ideal world to ever be in. And
I'd like to mess around with things.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce him to KFC.
Well, it'd be called something else because I could pretend I made it, can't it?
Chris
CFC.
Chicken. There's got to be a CFC somewhere.
Yeah, well.
Chicken, fried chicken. Shut up, anyway. It's 3 a.m. Why are you asking questions? Eat the chicken, boy.
Eat the chicken is the only one you'll ever have because I don't like you anymore.
Because chickens don't exist on this planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So.
That's good. I like to think that was... I think that showed more about us than it did about gaming.
Yeah, but at least we referenced some games in the middle.
Yeah.
We went down the TV route, which you don't always do. No,
talked about some TV. But enjoy putting that in a video without using copyrighted material.
Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, that sort of meandered to a close. We hope that the world you want to wake up in is one with the Nerd Out Word Out podcast. We have nerded out.
And the word is out.
Boom shakalaka. Boom time. Okay, boom. Thanks for listening. If you've heard our words and hundreds of more, you can find us at nerdoutwordout.com or on Twitter at nerdout_wordout, or you can search our new channel on YouTube.